What's happening, everybody? Good morning. Welcome into the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studios. My name is Marc Farzy. I appreciate you joining me. As per usual, we got a lot to get to today. And you know what? We got so many things to get to. We have two guests at the same time. Yeah. And who could that be? Well, none other than the Nasty Knuckles boys themselves. Will help me kind of recap this Flyers season and also a nice Flyers win last night against the Rangers. It's never negative to go against the Rangers and win a game. It's never negative to go against the Rangers, go back to Madison Square Garden for the first time since you lost 9-0 and win a game. It is a bad thing, though, sometimes to score a goal with your face. I wouldn't acknowledge that. Don't score a goal with your face. Unless you're James Van Riemsdyk and it helps rally your team, and then you go and you rattle off a couple of goals. You rattle off 3 goals, as a matter of fact, and you get a win. So that was good. JVR, if the stick fails you, use the schnoz. I think in this case it was the jaw. He actually had 2 goals for the Flyers last night as they beat the Rangers. So that was great. The Nasty Knuckles boys will help me recap that as well as the season. And here's my big question. Who's the young guy you're looking forward to seeing next year? Who's the guy you want to see develop more, take that next step next year? So we talked to the Nasty Knuckle boys about that, and that's who we'll hear from a little bit later in today's show. We got Sixers conversation to get to. Like I said, more Flyers conversation. And I went ahead and figured out this little puzzle that everybody else is trying to put the pieces together and figure out why. Everyone's trying to be the detective and figure out why the Eagles just won't name Jalen Hurts the starting quarterback. And I believe, a fascinating theory about that I'll mention in just a second. But first, the Sixers, because they played a little game last night. That was a dud of a game. And there were times, again, no Ben Simmons playing last night. You had George Hill in your starting lineup. That was a game last night that I guess we should have expected to be a dud, playing without Ben Simmons, playing in Milwaukee on a back-to-back, probably. And also, seeing Joel Embiid struggle the way he did, still scored 38 points. But you saw that he was laboring and he had a lot of issues and he didn't look exactly healthy in their previous matchup. So they go in there against Milwaukee and they have a clunker of a game. They have a clunker of a start. I give them credit for at least trying to fight a little bit in this game. There were instances where they were able to cut a lead that was, 21 points at one point, and they were able to cut that lead to 11 points. They were able to cut that lead to 9 points. I think at 1.8 points late in the third quarter. But every single time, it was like Brook Lopez hit a 3. Dante DiVincenzo hit a 3. They just couldn't do enough to stop the Bucks' onslaught. And without Ben Simmons there to play defense on Giannis Antetokounmpo, with Joel Embiid not exactly feeling 100%, and you definitely saw him laboring throughout this game as well, there was really nobody that was going to come up and put a stop to what the Bucks were doing to the 76ers. And I agree, Doc Rivers said early in the game, during one of his TV hits, during one of his TV interviews, that they just had no transition defense. They had no transition defense again last night. And they also just were worried about too much. This is what Doc said. They were worried too much about their individual matchups as opposed to playing good team defense and playing as a team and on offense. And you could certainly see it. It was more or less like Tobias Harris felt like he had to make up for lost time with his knee injury. He was back last night, only got the 18 points. And then you saw him kind of try to get to different ISO situations that he usually flourishes in. Wasn't having that success last night. Shake Milton got some extended minutes last night. He got you some more points. I think he got to 20 off the bench, so that was good to see. But at the same time, it just did not look like the 76ers team that we have come to know. And I think the main reason for that was, A, fatigue, which I hate to go to because these guys are professional athletes, and B, Ben Simmons not being there. And I think anytime you're going to be matched up against one of the upper echelon teams of your conference, whether that be the Nets, who are now tied with the Sixers for first place in the Eastern Conference, or be it the Bucks that are now 3.5 games out of first place in the Eastern Conference. Anytime you go up against one of those teams, you got to have a full, healthy roster, and the Sixers certainly did not have that. Here's the good news. In the playoffs, there's no back-to-backs. So that right there is the good news. But they're off now until tomorrow. They'll play again in Milwaukee tomorrow night. I look forward to seeing them on a little bit of rest. I look forward to seeing them with hopefully a little bit of, a little bit better range. They were off last night, certainly off last night. I mean, you were depending on Mike Scott to hit corner threes for you last night, and Mike Scott has obviously struggled for the second straight year with the Sixers. But hopefully this is the time that the Sixers, They look themselves in the mirror, they get a little break, and they get back to being exactly what they were. But the problem is the middle thing I talked about there. The problem is Ben Simmons. And after the game last night, Doc Rivers talked about how Ben's illness, his sickness, is worse than they originally thought, and he could be missing some more time. Look, when you talk about your stars and you talk about the NBA, these guys take a lot of time off. And sometimes it actually works out for the better because they're well-rested come playoff time, right? That's the optimistic way to look at this. I was really hoping that the Sixers – I think Ben Simmons can play 100 games a year and not have a problem. I think he is in that good a shape. I think he is just an Adonis when it comes to being in great game shape. So that I think with Ben Simmons, it's almost one of those things that you just throw out the window because the energy is going to be there anyway in the playoffs because he's that great an athlete. But what bothers me is you have some guys on this roster like Joel Embiid, and you have some guys on this roster like Tobias Harris, I feel, that are really pushing it this year to try to take this team to the next level, try to take this team into the Eastern Conference, into the playoffs as the top seed, trying to get home court advantage, throughout the playoffs here leading up to the NBA Finals. And I think you've had Joel Embiid push harder than he's ever pushed. I think you've had Tobias Harris play at a level that's even exceeded the Tobias Harris that the Sixers traded for from the LA Clippers 3 years ago. I think those two leaders on this team have pushed it beyond the next level to try to help this team be the number one seed. I think that they absolutely need a break. Tobias Harris obviously coming off a knee injury. He's going to get that today. He's had a nice little layoff. But what I have been amazed by, and I'm hoping that the gas tank doesn't run empty, is Joel Embiid. And it's not just his style of play. It's not just his MVP caliber of play. What I have been amazed by with Joel Embiid is the fact that I have never seen this guy work harder on the court. And I am just hoping that come playoff time, that gas tank isn't empty. And you're seeing it now, especially over the last couple of games, of Joel Embiid playing through injury. He says he's not 100%. I believe that he's not 100%. I know I reference all the time J.J. Redick calling the most dramatic player he's ever played with when it comes to anything close to an injury, comes to anything close to a little shove on the court. Joel Embiid will embellish it. I don't think this is that time. So my point is, I don't want him to be burning that out before the playoffs. And with no Ben Simmons, I feel like Joel Embiid will continue to push, continue to feel like he has to carry this team because, quite frankly, he does. And then you have to watch Tobias Harris try to come back from a knee injury as well. This is where you have to rely on guys like Seth Curry, who had some big threes for you yesterday to try to get you back in this ballgame. And you also have to rely on Danny Green. We had talked about the other day how those guys have to be the X factor going into the playoffs. Your shooters on this team in your starting five. When you talk about Danny Green and you talk about Seth Curry, those guys have to be your X factor in the playoffs. So I go back to JoJo, and I just hope that without Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid doesn't put it all on himself to try to carry this team to still be the number one seed by the time Ben does come back. So we'll continue to follow that, obviously, as the season winds down. So Sixers, again, back at it on Saturday night, tomorrow night against the Bucks in Milwaukee. This game also out there in Milwaukee. Here's the other thing. Phillies are back in action tonight. They start a series at 8:40, I believe it was. Yeah, 8:40 with the Colorado Rockies. So that's what's happening, just to get you into the know regarding the Phils. Everyone's favorite bullpen arm, everyone's favorite pitcher, Vince Velasquez, supposed to make the start tonight for the Phillies. So get your weekend started off right, folks. And now it's time for my little theory. We also have a Farzy in the field for you, by the way, speaking of football. We concentrate on Nick Sirianni and his rock, paper, scissors bit that he did 2 days ago. That was fun. I've solved this little issue that people have this big problem with what the Eagles are doing right now and not naming Jalen Hurts the starting quarterback. Why should they? To make him feel good? Here's the thing about Jalen Hurts. Here's one thing I know about Jalen Hurts. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback. I don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to be even a good quarterback in the upcoming season. I saw some things from last year I certainly liked, definitely, but nothing that I look at and go, this guy, franchise guy. But here's what I know about Jalen Hurts. I don't think he needs to be named the starting quarterback. I don't think Jalen Hurts is looking at it as, oh, well, Carson's gone. This is automatically mine. If he felt that way, I don't know if he's still in the building every single day. I don't know if he's still in the building working out every single day. As Boston Scott said a couple of days ago in a recent interview, he never leaves the building. He's always working out. He's always on the field. He's always trying to make himself better. I think the Eagles know what they have in Jalen Hurts. And I also think the reason they're not naming him the starting quarterback is because he's not yet. Here's what the Eagles are doing. And this is where I'll give a lot of credit to Nick Sirianni. First off, you got to say as a head coach, everyone's having a competition, even if other people know it's BS. Because you have other people on that roster that still have to think that. They still have to think that, oh, no, my job's up for grabs. I gotta work my ass off and make sure I keep this job. If you're a new head coach coming in here, a first-time head coach coming in here, and not just some first-time head coach that, like Doug Peterson at least played in the league. He had that respect, all right, from his players. But when it comes to Nick Sirianni, you have to say that everything's a competition. So I don't fault him for that at all. And the other thing that they're doing that Doug didn't do, or that Doug did, was they're not using the phrase right now. If you notice, Doug Peterson, even before they traded for Carson Wentz, they always talked about right now. Who's my starting quarterback? Sam Bradford right now. Right now, Sam Bradford. Who's my backup quarterback? Right now, Chase Daniel. Right now, Chase Daniel. Who's my third string quarterback? Right now, Carson Wentz. Right now, Jalen Hurts is the Eagles starting quarterback. However, the Eagles are just saying, why do I even have to say right now? And the reason they're talking about it like this is because I still don't believe they're sold on him. So why haven't they named Jalen Hurts starting quarterback yet? Because he's not the starting quarterback yet. Week 1 is when he'll be the starting quarterback. First day of training camp, really, when he'll be the starting quarterback. And even that is right now. I don't think they're 100% sold on him. I still see this year as an audition for Jalen Hurts, not a validation for Jalen Hurts. And here's why I think that. Number one reason, they drafted him to be a backup quarterback. They didn't draft him to be the starting quarterback. They drafted him to be a guy that might develop over time. Not a guy to come in year 1 or 2 and take over the league and try to play at such a high level that we'd just be amazed at what he could do. No, that's not why they drafted him. They drafted him to be a backup quarterback to Carson Wentz. Bottom line, backup quarterback. Second-round pick, sure, but still a backup quarterback. That's why they picked him. The other thing here with Jalen Hurts is that I honestly feel if you had a starting quarterback, a young starting quarterback about to take over, I don't think you're trading out of the 6th overall pick. I think you're going to get a stud at that spot. And as we heard, that would immediately help, directly help your starting quarterback and make you look like a genius for drafting Jalen Hurts in the first place, whether that be Kyle Pitts, whether that be Jamar Chase. I think you get a stud at 6 to help your quarterback right out of the gate. I don't think you're trading out to 12 to get somebody that's going to come in here and be nearly as impactful player as a Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts would be. And you're going to get one of those two guys. The third thing is what Howie said yesterday. Once they knew San Francisco was moving up to 3, they knew another quarterback was going to be off the board. What's that? They knew another quarterback was going to be off the board? So they were already looking elsewhere other than Jalen Hurts. So what? So the big question, why haven't the Eagles named Jalen Hurts the starting quarterback yet? Because he's not yet. Sure, if the season started today, he'd be your starting quarterback. But what's to be gained if the player doesn't care? And I don't think Jalen Hurts really cares about getting that title right now. I think Jalen Hurts, to his credit, only thing he's concerned with is being the best possible quarterback he can be, being the best possible player he can be, which is why he's in the NovaCare complex working his tail off, which is why he's down there getting this reputation and really has had this reputation going back to last year. So I give Jalen Hurts all the credit in the world. And as far as the Eagles naming him the starting quarterback, anything can happen between now and the draft. Anything can happen between now and training camp. And then the Eagles are going to be caught in this gotcha moment because then really that's what it's coming down to for a lot of people. Oh, no, you said on April 23rd that he was the starting quarterback and now you traded him. Well, yeah, that's what happened. That's what happens. Or now you traded back into the top 10 to try to get another quarterback or something crazy. They take a quarterback later in the draft. They don't want to be tied to anything, and I think that's actually a smart move by Nick Sirianni and this coaching staff to say everything's a competition, because you know what? It might sound cliche, but if you're coming in there, you want everyone to be on their toes. You want everyone to feel like they got to earn their spot. Sure, you have some guys that are well entrenched in their position and well entrenched with their status with the Eagles. But if you're a new head coach, yeah, hey, guess what? Impress me. You know what? We haven't asked this. No one's asked this question, Nick Sirianni, yet. And I was thinking about this yesterday as I was going around shooting Farzy in the field and just thinking, I went to college and I'm running around Philadelphia and I'm playing rock, paper, scissors with people. This is fun. This is a good gig. This is what crossed my mind about Nick Sirianni. What kind of discipline is he gonna? Is he gonna be any type of disciplinarian? Because all we have seen so far is this real happy-go-lucky guy. What is he gonna do with adversity? How is he gonna handle that? If a player isn't respecting, his coaching style, if a player is listening to him the same way we listen to him and go, this ain't it. That's kind of how it feels. Is he gonna do that? Is he gonna have that Andy Reid moment that Hugh Douglas told us about, where if he hears a player saying something, or if he notices a player kind of giving him an attitude or whatever it might be, is he going to have that, hey, quit your bitching type of moment? Is that how it's going to be? I hope so, because that's the way you have to be. If you're the new leader coming in to take over, you have to make sure that you have discipline. You have to make sure that you have your authority, and you have to make sure you know how to manage this locker room. That was Doug's probably greatest gift as a head coach, knowing how to handle the locker room, knowing when to listen to his veterans, know when to let his veterans handle a situation, let his leaders handle a situation. Is Nick Sirianni going to have anything close to that type of command in the locker room? So the next time we hear from Nick Sirianni, one of the things I'd love to hear is how he plans on dealing with adversity in the event that maybe a player isn't giving him 100%, maybe a player isn't loving ball the way that Nick Sirianni likes his players to love ball. So I'd love to know that. But to recap that Eagles stuff, the reason Jalen Hurts isn't being named the starting quarterback, because I don't believe the Eagles are 100% sold on him yet being the starting quarterback, and they don't want to be tied to anything that said, he's your starting quarterback, and now he's not. That's why they're doing it. The other is Nick Sirianni and adversity. Could you picture that guy at the press conference? Could you picture that guy at the press conference trying to hold somebody accountable? That's not the play, right? You got to do this, right? We talked about it, right? Yeah, coach. Cool. That's where you just hope he's a totally different guy when he's actually coaching this football team. All right. We got the Nasty Knuckles boys coming up in just a second here to talk all things Flyers and winding down the season, and also who they're looking forward to seeing next year. And as a little crossover on the Nick Sirianni thing with playing the rock, paper, scissors and Jeopardy. He also said Jeopardy. He also plays people in Jeopardy. Cool. I asked the Nasty Knuckles boys, I said, fellas, have you ever been around a coach that did something like Nick Sirianni, playing rock, paper, scissors, something off the beaten track to try to get to know a player, to try to gauge how competitive a player was? And I'll say this. Riley Cote has a great story. And I know Derek Settlemyre, of course, Nasty himself, has a great story about Peter Laviolette, so you won't want to miss that during the interview. But right now, let me tell you about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Mother's Day, just a couple of weeks away, fellas. Go to IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Check out their Sunshine Yellow Gold Dip Rose. It is beautiful. Dazzles and sparkles. Mom will absolutely love it. And here's what you'll love about it. Not only will you make mom just ecstatic to have this beautiful rose, but you're also going to be taking care of the community. How so? Well, I'll tell you how so. Steven takes a portion of the proceeds from each rose sold, and he buys food from local restaurants in Philadelphia, and he takes that food that he bought from the restaurant, and he feeds hospital workers. He feeds first responders. He feeds our healthcare heroes during the pandemic. How great is that? So the local restaurants that need a bump, they get the bump. The health heroes that need the thank you, they get the thank you. Your mom gets a beautiful rose, and you feel great about helping the community and making mom smile. Steven Singer, so many birds, one stone. That's what that man does. Absolutely amazing. Go to IHateStevenSinger.com. Right now, you get a free gift card, personalized message that comes with the rose, fast and free shipping. All this at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. The other corner of 8th and Walnut. One place, one price, every day, Steven Singer Jewelers. Make sure you check them out at 8th and Walnut right there in Philadelphia. Without further ado, love talking to these guys. These guys are fantastic. Riley Cote, Derek Settlemyre, you know them as Nasty Knuckles Podcast, and they join us right now. Zatos Investments guest line. Now on the Zatos Investments guest line. Now, we've talked to one of the Nasty Knuckles boys before, the Nasty Knuckles fellas, and that's Riley Cote. We are honored to be joined by Derek Settlemyre as well, known as Nasty of the Nasty Knuckles. What's up, fellas?
What's happening, Farzy?
You know what? I feel like, now, when I talk to just one of yous, if I talk to Riley, for instance, I feel like I'm just enough hockey. But if I have both of you, I feel like I got to hockey it up a little bit. So I broke them out.
Look at those wheels.
Look at this. I broke out my old towers.
1982 or what?
It's 92. Thank you.
I don't know. The Nike
you confirm that?
Oh my
confirm that.
Yeah, this is what I got, fellas.
Look at you talk about Farzy. Now I know you're snapping biscuits around.
Oh man.
Hey, look at the Nike.
You gotta get him some tucks for those skates there.
ICMs or SLMs.
These
bottoms.
are Bowers.
Yeah, but the holders that hold the steel there, they're the old ICM or SLMs. Those are old, boys.
Those are ancient.
I love the Nike glove. Those are sick though. I haven't seen a pair of those in years.
I think these were a gift from my mom for Christmas, maybe 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. I don't know. I think I broke her heart by never playing.
The gloves are newer than the skates. That's for sure.
They just haven't been worn, bro.
Yeah.
They just haven't been worn.
Yeah, I think these survived maybe 2 games of roller hockey.
Okay.
And that was pretty much it. So let's talk some Flyers, fellas. Shall we? First up, your latest episode of Nasty Knuckles. You have Nick Schultz on, no?
Yes, Nick Schultz. He's a development. He's one of the development coaches now with the Flyers, but obviously played here for 3 seasons. Great guy. Great interview.
Okay, and people can obviously download that wherever they get their podcasts, obviously, right?
Yep, it's live on all platforms: Apple Podcast, YouTube. The whole bit.
All right, we're going to get some on that interview in just a second, but Flyers coming off a big win, and we're talking to you guys almost immediately after that victory. They were down 1-0 early, came back and tied it off the face of James Van Riemsdyk. However, you can get the goals, fellas. And Flyers went on to score 3 goals. They win the game 3-2. So that was a nice little victory here. They were down 11 points with 11 games to go. Let's just focus on the win. Riley, I'll ask you first. What jumped out to you about this victory?
Well, you know what? It was a little bit of a snoozer there early on in the game, and they stuck with it. And, a guy like JVR is going to the greasy areas. We've talked about that before, right? You got to go to the greasy areas to score, and hung in the game, and then, get on the map there with that first goal. And then, again, later on, but, just going to those hard areas. I think they started to press and get some grade A chances and start looking like a team. But they were generating, and they made it a game. So it was nice to see them pull it out.
Nasty, how about you? Good to see JVR get back on the board.
It was, and I felt like their veteran players tonight were the best players by far, to be honest with you, on the ice. JVR, Jakey, G, Coots, JVR takes the one off the face, but then he had unbelievable tip. He's just so good in front of the net. Him and Pavelski, to me, are the two of the top guys in front of the net like that. But I was a little worried in the first period. I think there were 3 odd man rushes like quickly into the game, but they held it together. Moose played great.
Yeah, Moose
was really solid again, and they found a way to win, and it's kind of the way they were playing when we started. I mean, they found a way to win. Scored 3. That kid's hot. That goalie.
He's really good.
And he's a very good goalie. But I was happy to see the boys win. I know they're frustrated, but it's good win, man. Anyone's good win.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now the other part of this, you mentioned the veterans. Claude Giroux had one that just maybe 2 inches to the left, and that's another goal. They go up. I think it would have been 2 or maybe 3-1 at that point in the late in the second period. That one just missed. I have to ask this though, because I agree with you when you talk about guys like James Van Riemsdyk and you talk about some of these other guys. It's like, where does it go when it's not working for you, when it's not clicking for you? Where does it go? Where do you think it's gone with guys like JVR and really Sean Couturier and even a guy like Kevin Hayes, where does that goal scoring go when they just can't get it clicking for themselves?
Well, you go to the net and you take one off the chin.
It's that simple, Farzy.
It's that simple. It's right. Like every coach on earth's ever said it. You got to go to the net. You got to get greasy. You got to just like go to where the puck's got to go to score goals, right? I mean, it's not rocket science. And I know I'm making it sound easier than it is, but they started funneling pucks to net. Their power play was dry there. And then, then they score and they're generating chances. They're just putting pucks to the net. And, I think Allison got a nice redirect and there was some other, good plays to the net, but that's just the formula. Eventually something's going to go in. It's going to hit a shaft. It's going to hit this and that. And, it's just hard to defend. So, yeah, or chin. Yeah, exactly.
If you can't snap the biscuit, headbutt the biscuit.
Headbutt it.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's what I've noticed. And maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but Shane Gostisbehere, since being placed on waivers, I have seen him play a lot better hockey. Not great hockey, not near what he was in his first year or two with the Flyers, but I noticed that kind of shook things up a little bit for him, and he's played a lot better since then. Derek, have you noticed the same thing from him, or am I making something out of nothing?
Well, I mean, I think you have to say he's played better. He's been putting points up, and that's kind of what you want Ghost to do. I mean, we all know Ghost is not a shutdown defenseman. We all know that. He's got to be better defensively. He knows that. I know he's worked on it. He's trying. It's really hard. You hate to make excuses because every team's in this situation, but you never get to practice. Like, these guys never practice. They play 4 times a week. I mean, this week they obviously had a couple, which was good, but I think Ghost has been better since that. I think part of it could be, you know what? I'll show you guys, I'm going to step up and luckily he's been putting some points up, which they need, but maybe a little bit too late. I hope it's not. You never know. I'm always optimistic. So, I do think he's played better though far as yes.
Yeah. So, Riley, when looking at him, looking at Ivan Provorov, looking at guys like Phil Myers, like Travis Sanheim, trying to figure out what this team's going to do next in the defensive realm, do you think that Shane Gostisbehere still has a future here with the Flyers, or do you think he's going to end up somewhere else in the not too distant future?
Well, I think the thing with Ghost is just his inconsistencies, right? I mean, as he said it, when he's going, he's putting up points. But if he's not putting up points, he's not the best defender. I think that's always been his holes, is defending consistently. So I think that that's his flaw. And to stay in this league, stay on a team, you have to be consistent. So I think like going through this year and the holes they see on the back end there. It's tough to say. I think they're going to have to replace him. They're going to have to, obviously add a veteran defenseman back there. And I don't see him being around next year, honestly. I think just the way it's gone for him. But he has stepped up his game. He looks better, more explosive at times, and more engaged. I think when it goes bad for him is when he maybe makes a sexy play, and then everyone's razzled and dazzled by it. But then then he has a hole in his defense and. He gets scored on, and then just everything he did just doesn't look very good. It gets magnified. So I like to think that going into next year that they're gonna, find a replacement for him. But he's definitely done everything he can to respond the right way from the adversity that he went through.
Now with, I believe, 10 games left to go in the regular season, where are you guys at on this team? Is there a miracle run somewhere in here, or is it all about what's going to happen next year?
I think even if you win 10 in a row, you need the other teams to lose 8 out of their last. So
it's a real miracle.
It would be a miracle. I know one thing. We've both been with teams when you got 10 games left and you're not in the playoffs. It's not a lot of fun. It's fun, but it's not fun because especially for the veterans, just when the kids is when you expect them to step up and say, hey, like, I'm ready. They're going to play better, but I don't know about with only 10 games to go if they can do it.
Yeah, I think it's a crapshoot. I mean, the rest of the year. I mean, it's they're not going to make the playoffs. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, we've been so hopeful all year. Every time we started speaking at the start of the week about where they're at, we're like, oh yeah, they're going to turn things around. I mean, it's like. Here we are, 10 games to go. I'm not sure they're going to be able to squeeze 10 games in a row together to even give themselves a standing chance. So I think it's just going into next year, like Nasty said, young guys get a chance to play, a little bit of a showcase, see who wants to be here. You see who performs, and you still got a lot to play for, your own personal pride, team pride, and where you're going to be next year. So you play spoiler too, right? So I mean, there's always stuff to play for. It's to me, it's just a pride thing at the end of the day.
They may have done that tonight for the Rangers. That was a big loss.
Exactly. It's a big loss for them.
Loss for them.
Creates the gap.
I saw how shocked they were after the game that they actually lost to this team that the last time they hosted, they beat 9-0.
Right.
Now, all right, so let's look forward to next year a little bit here. Well, maybe, this year. What young player are you looking forward to seeing how he finishes the season? And then what young player would you like to see really step up next year? Who are the young guys you guys are looking to the most? Well, and who can Flyers look forward to for next year? Riley, I'll ask you first.
Well, I really like Faraby's game. Maybe the last couple of weeks he's had a little bit of a dry spell, but I just think this guy's got another dimension to his game. This Allison, I like to see more of him. He shows signs of being explosive and engaged and making plays. Obviously, it just takes some time to get used to the NHL speed and transition the whole bit. So I think between those two guys, they got another dimension. I think for sure Farabee. I mean, he surprised me this year. I think he's got more in the tank. He's, he seems to be very engaged and a very, very smart hockey player. So, I think if you play him with the right players and put him in right situations, I think this guy can flourish.
Nasty, who are you looking at?
Yeah, Riles, Riggs. I know it's bedtime, but you stole my thunder there. I was going to say the same two guys because I wouldn't mind seeing Cam York as well. I'd like to see him play. But I've been waiting for the past 3 to 4 years for Allison to make it. The poor kid's been hurt. He's had some tough luck in college. Just his attitude around the rink. He's a hilarious kid. You can see the skill, the work ethic that he had in all the camps that he was coming to when he was able to skate. A couple times he couldn't. So it was really nice. I was actually at the game the other day when he scored. I was so happy for him. He's just such a good kid. But like Riley said, Farabee's game is I really think he's going to be a heck of a player. He's had a great year, basically, this year as well. But I would like to see Cam York get a game or two if possible.
Yeah, as would I. I'd love to see him come up and play at the NHL level, no doubt about it. I know there's a COVID issue, obviously, in Lehigh Valley, so they were dealing with that. I believe there's still happening when he was in college, so there's a lot that he's been dealing with right there. But yeah, I hope to see him this year as well. I know you guys had seen this story, so I have to ask you about this because you guys have been closer to professional athletes. Riley, obviously, you're a professional athlete here, so I know you've had your share of coaches, and Nasty, you've been around your share of coaches. Nick Sirianni recently said in a press conference, and it's stolen all the headlines in the world. Nick Sirianni came out and said that he plays draft prospects over Zoom in rock, paper, scissors to test how competitive they are. So I ask both of you this. Have you ever been around a coach that tried something really zany, really weird, really just totally out of nowhere to try to get to know a player's strength or weakness? What has the coach done around you to try to learn your strength or weakness?
Riles, the one guy I can think of who always had something going on. I don't know if it was to try to see your strength or weakness, but he always had these contests, and it was Peter Laviolette.
Right.
And, at first, he'd bring a box into the locker room, set it down in the middle of the room. Whoever at the end of this 5-game stretch is whatever, leading plus minus or scoring or defense, whatever you want to say, gets what's in this box. And, it was always, you're like, okay, Lavi. And then you're like, what the fuck's in that box? Oh, can I say that? I'm sorry. I don't know if I can swear.
I don't give a damn. No, it's the
internet. Sorry. Anyway, we were and then after a day or two, you're like, I'm going to see what's in that box. But he had that thing taped up, but he would always, Riles was it for, it would be something that you see at 3 a.m. on TV. He ordered them. Remember when he got us all those, what were those things called, Riles? The full blanket. But
the Snuggies.
He got everybody Snuggies one time, after a 5-game segment or something. But I'll tell you what, it worked. He always had, guys were engaged with it.
Wow.
So that's the only thing I can really think of from coaches. Hitch just came in. let's go. What the fuck you doing? You know, he never put anything in a room or tried to get anyone to do anything. But that's the only guy I can really think of. You, Riles? I don't know.
Well, my story goes back to junior hockey. We actually talked about it on the Nick Schultz podcast. So I played a junior with Schultz and Scott Hartnell. We had a coach named Kevin McClellan. He was a tough guy for the Edmonton Oilers, won 4 Stanley Cups there. And he was notorious for screwing with guys' heads. So for me personally, he was all over me and in my kitchen all the time, screwing with me, 16-year-old kid, fresh from leaving home, the whole bit. Well, anyways, he did this several times, but we'd be on road trips and he'd pull over for gas or wherever on the bus. And he'd call me up to the front of the bus. He'd have he'd half on the bus, half out the bus, having a cigarette break. Yep. Smoking a cigarette, and you'd call me up to the front of the bus. He'd be growls, raspy voice, and he would just stare me in the eyes. And he'd flip the cigarette around, put the cigarette in his mouth, and swallow it, blow out the smoke, and be like, "I got the record at the bar, 10 cigarettes. Now get the back of the bus." So you do this crazy thing where it's like you just like it's nothing to do with hockey.
I was gonna say,
but absolutely screw with your head. And he's responsible. I say he was responsible for me to taking on the role of the enforcer. I'm like, this guy's nuts, and like this guy's like trying to fuck with me, and essentially he created this monster. It was just bizarre strategy. I knew he knew how to like screw with the young guys because they essentially controlled them, right? So just crazy stuff like that. This is old school stuff. I heard stories after the fact when he was coaching in the minors. He would put cigarettes in guys' mouths on the ice in the Central Hockey League and have these guys skate up and down the ice. Just crazy stuff, but obviously that strategy doesn't work in the new age game. But man, that's forever with me, tainted in my DNA. Kevin McClellan.
I was hoping that, and then I went out and scored 10 goals. No,
I didn't score 10 goals. Though. I think I fought the next game because I was like scared shitless.
Hey, Schultze said you were skilled. He said skilled. This guy's he was skilled player.
Skilled, yeah. I don't know what that. I think Schultze was just padding my stats there a little bit.
Is that what he was doing?
Oh yeah. Well, I scored a few goals in juniors, but I don't know if it was skilled. He was just being extra courteous on that compliment.
This is great. See, this is the type of stuff you guys get with the Nasty Knuckles podcast. If you're a hockey fan, you have to listen to Nasty Knuckles. These guys do a great job. Riley, I think I've told you this before. Nasty, I don't think I told you this yet. When I sat in, when you guys interviewed Jake Voracek before the season, I have never seen anyone. I worked NHL on NBC for years behind the scenes. I've seen guys try to get the good stuff out of interviews from hockey players. Nobody's like you two. Nobody's like you two. You guys get the best possible stuff out of hockey players. And Riley, no offense, my friend, but I will say this as a 15-year media member in Philadelphia, you guys are the most difficult to talk to sometimes. Like you're so nice. You're so well-mannered. You're such good dudes that very rarely do you have somebody, go out on the limb, but you guys know how to tap into that, that mindset so well. So you guys do a phenomenal job. If you're a hockey fan, you got to listen to the Nasty Knuckles podcast.
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate
it. Farzy.
Hey, my pleasure.
That, man.
No, of course. Hey guys, great talking to you. I forgot how damn hot it is in these gloves.
I was going to say, I'm impressed. He's had them on the whole time, man.
Yeah, he's got sweaty palms there.
If I was there, Farzy, I'd take him, throw him on the dryer, like when the boys come off between periods, let them dry up a little bit for you.
Nass is ready to go.
Spoil me.
It's been a while since I've done that, so you know how.
What do you do about those blades, though, Nass? What do you do about those blades?
We're gonna work on those, Farzy. When I see, I'm gonna grab those and we're gonna bring them into the shop, profile them. Or just hang them
up in order to maneuver.
We'll just hang them up. I'll say they were Gordy's, Mr. Hockey.
Is the rust intimidating? Does that intimidate somebody?
The skate sharpener.
The wheel on my skate sharpener, it will.
It's like, whoa, here we go.
The Nasty Knuckles fellas checking in on the Farzy show here on the Zatos Investments guest line. Nasty, Riley, thank you guys so much for coming on. Make sure you guys download that podcast as well. Catch up with you guys again soon, and maybe we'll do a post-mortem on this Flyer season when it's all said and done.
Absolutely.
Good. Thanks,
appreciate it.
Absolutely. The Nasty Knuckles fellas checking in on the Zatos Investments guest line. Now let me just try to stop this interview with
gloves on.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get the mouse. This is all good stuff. Jim Hayden, who produces my show and your show, from what I understand, leave this in. This is all good content. All right, come on. I can do this.
Jim.
Yeah, right.
Damn it.
Jim.
We always do this with Jim. Starting over. Sorry, Jim.
I'm so
Like
determined
10 takes on our ad reads.
now. No, don't ask me if I want to end the broadcast. I got to click it twice then. Myself there. My apologies. It was very difficult to click the mouse with that with the gloves on, to say the least. And I had a little regret there. I had a little bit of a regret there with the gloves because they get kind of sweaty. But the other regret was maybe I should have worn the gritty wig. Would that be too much? That'd be too much. Anyway, thanks to the Nasty Knuckles boys for hopping on. Always a good time talking to them. I do really enjoy those fellas. They're good. They're good dudes. We're gonna get to our social media check-in. We're gonna get to our Farzy in the field, where you will find out just how good the city of Philadelphia is. As a little rock paper scissors. So we'll see that. And then we'll have some more fun with our morning rush as well. But first, let me tell you about some great things, obviously, like the people of PHLSportsNation.com. Check it out for yourselves. You need to check out our friends over at Philadelphia Sports Nation, a local Philadelphia sports site covering your favorite teams across blogs and all social media. PHLSportsNation.com, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. We got big bets coming up. Somebody's on a little bit of a roll. That's this guy. Somebody's on a roll on big bets. When I make my big bets, with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, and they're putting you in the center of the action all the time with a chance to turn $1 into $100 this time around if the basketball team of your choosing simply hits a three-pointer. Come on. You know they're going to hit a three-pointer. It's an easy bet for new customers. You could register right now by downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Turn $1 into $100 with 100 to 1 odds. Not too bad at all. This year's team's been hitting threes, especially at an unprecedented pace. So get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook before this offer ends. DraftKings, safe, secure, reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. How do you turn $1 into $100? Pick any basketball team to hit a three, and if they hit that three, you bring home $100. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code Farzy when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free bets if the basketball team of your choosing simply hits a three. That's promo code Farzy to turn $1 into $100 in free bets for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And how about Zatos Investments? You need to check these guys out. Zatos Investments, up-and-coming luxury real estate development and investment company in the Philadelphia area. They design and develop top-of-the-line custom homes all around the city, ranging from small single-family rehabs to ground-up new construction townhomes and condo buildings. Zatos also works closely with their private investor base to provide them with substantial returns on their investment, ranging from 20 to 40%. These guys are crushing it right now in the Philadelphia real estate game. To see some of their properties and also learn how you too could invest with Zatos Investments, reach out to info@zatosinvestments.com or simply visit zatosinvestments.com. I had a lot of fun on the FanUp app last night. It was the first time I actually went against the Sixers. The first time I actually didn't really think Joel Embiid was going to go over his number of points there. So I got in with some friends to make a bet with the great people of FanUp. The FanUp app allows you to talk all that smack like you're playing fantasy sports, but you get to do it on this app, and you get to pick your own things. It's pretty awesome here. Every fan needs to have the FanUp app. You can rise on the leaderboard. You can score some points for yourself. You can win some great brand prizes. They got all sorts of great stuff going on the FanUp app. The days of playing fantasy sports alone are over. Enter FanUp Super Fun daily and weekly contest. Answer super fun questions and rise on the leaderboard. As a matter of fact, I'll be throwing out a FanUp 5 later today to see what you guys are looking forward to, what questions you want answered come Monday morning. So through the weekend, FanUp 5. What are 5 things you want to know before the weekend lets out? We'll let that out on social media a little bit later today. FanUp. I'm doing it with all my friends. You need to do it with yours as well. May the best fan win. Download the FanUp app in the App Store. Use promo code FANUP for 2,000 bonus points right out of the gate. That's FanUp. You could be the real MVP and let the best fan win. Now let's check in with our great people here on our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine at steakandmaine.com. I know a lot of people right now getting a lot of people, excuse me, are just meeting the Nasty Knuckles boys. They're a good time. to say the absolute least. You have to check them out. Always a great podcast. Let's start off here with Jack just saying, morning, Farzy. What's up, Jack? Morning to you as well. Ronald, 9-0 still, or excuse me, 9-0 still stings. Talking about the Rangers Flyers to get the win last night was great, but yeah, 9-0. Yeah, that's always bad. Thanks for checking in, Ronald. Jack's chiming in saying, facts. I agree. Thomas checking in saying, imagine having a bad night and putting up with Joel Embiid. What did he have, 24 points, I believe it was last night? Yeah, he's still going to have a good night. And we even talked about, what was it the other day? I can't remember the game it was exactly. I think he had 38 points. But it was like Joel Embiid was not at 100%. It was like a week ago. And he still put up the numbers that he put up in that game. 38 points, and it felt like it was nothing. Felt like it was nothing for him to do. That's how great a player he is. Jalen is not it. Ronald is saying that right now. I honestly believe the Eagles are like, let's see what we get out of our quarterback. Like, that's how I feel the Eagles' attitude is going into the season. Let's just see what we get from him. Nah, it doesn't matter. We got 3 first-round picks next year. That's the year we really make a move. Yee. But let's just see what we got. That's always the attitude you want to have about a quarterback going into the season, right? Let's see what he's got. Yeah, let's have some fun. Nasty Knuckles checking in. Yeah, always a pleasure, fellas. What else do we have? Benny, can we just step back and ask? I don't know. Oh, I see what you're doing there. It's the second thing. Benny's saying, can we just step back and ask why the F did we draft Jalen Hurts? It's a good question. Hopefully we find out that reason on a positive note this year. And then let's not forget, because we're a quarterback factory. T-shirts available at FarzyShow.com. Mally's checking in, saying, I'm just curious, play starting quarterback, best out of 5 wins. I guess that's their goal for that. Respect my authority. Matt, I think you picked up on that reference. James Taylor, Farzy, what up? What's up, James Taylor? How you doing, buddy? Skates and gloves, and Marc says he don't inhale. All right. What is with this little trend that's happening on our social media check-in where you want me to be some a pothead, right? I got nothing against the marijuana. I just don't indulge. That ain't for me. I don't do well with it, as they say. Sports Talk with Broads. Broads, we missed you, brother. We missed you. We need to do maybe an end-of-the-year post-game show with the Flyers, about the Flyers, with the Nasty Knuckles boys. Sports Talk with Broads, of course, Hunter Brody. We missed you as well. I'll have you know, Broads, if you're still watching, Nasty did delay the interview when we taped it last night because he wanted to go find a bandana in your honor, a headband in your honor. So just know that we were thinking of you. What else do we have here? Okay, that made me LOL. Talking about Nasty Knuckles. That's Vince checking in. Thank you, Vince. Appreciate it. Dante, why not trade Jalen before? Why not trade Jalen before he's a scrub? Can you work in the Eagles front office, please? I don't think he's going to be a scrub, but I also don't think he's going to be a franchise quarterback. I think he's going to be a guy that'll have a decent year, give you some hope, but then with 3 first-round picks, the Eagles are going to get a quarterback next year. So I think that's how that works out. Thanks for everybody that checked in on our social media check-in. Before we get to our morning rush, it's going to be a very rushed morning rush. But before we get to that, I want to continue this vibe right now of people in terms of what people are feeling, the vibe of the streets. And Nick Sirianni said something that got national headlines at the press conference the other day when he said he plays draft prospects in rock, paper, scissors over Zoom to try to gauge how competitive they are. So that just got me thinking, this would make a perfect Farzy in the field. Why not take to the streets to see how good Philadelphia is? And maybe another city, as a matter of fact, to see how good Philadelphia is at a little game of rock, paper, scissors. Here it is, brought to you by FanUp, Farzy in the field. Welcome to this edition of Farzy in the Field, presented by FanUp, where I took to the streets to see just how good Philadelphia is in an old-fashioned game of rock, paper, scissors. All right, here with my new friend, Kenny. Kenny, what did you make of Nick Sirianni saying that he plays people in rock, paper, scissors to see how competitive they are?
He's a real competitive guy. I don't know what the nature of that competition is, but it's definitely a game for him.
Okay, can you play rock, paper, scissors?
Let's do it.
Do you play rock, paper, scissors?
Yes.
Are you any good at rock, paper, scissors?
Yes.
Let's put that to the test. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah, yes! Undefeated. All right, here we go. Let's try it again. You know, best out of 3. Best out of 3. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah, world champion. Do you play rock, paper, scissors?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes when the PlayStation's broken and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's go. Rock, paper, scissors, see how competitive you are. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, 1-0, 1-0. All right, here we go. Best out of three, here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, tied. He tied it up. Nice play there. All right, here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah! Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
That's me, right?
Oh, that's you. 2 out of 3. Here, one more. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, you got me again. Now, where are you from, brother?
1, 2, 3, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. I don't know how they play in Milwaukee, but I'll show you how to play the streets of Philly. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah! Okay, all right, he's up 1. 1 game to none. 1 game to none. All right, here comes the comeback. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, my God, he did it again. Well, how good are you at rock, paper, scissors?
Pretty good.
Okay, here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, down 1 game to none. Down 1 game to none. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah, okay. For all the marbles. Are you ready to go?
Ready to go.
Here we go. This is like game 7. It's a game 7 type atmosphere. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah, I've lost again. Oh, my God. Thanks for
Take care,
playing.
go Bird.
Thanks very much. Getting my butt kicked out here. You guys want to play each other? Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'll play the winner. Here we go. Rock smashes scissors. You win 2 out of 3. Congratulations, sir. You win the opportunity to play me. Okay. Here we go.
Yes, I'm ready to kick butt.
Okay. Oh, gee, okay. Now I'm a little afraid. I've never been more afraid to play rock paper scissors. Here we go. Ready? Get your hands in. Rock paper scissors shoot. So it's a tie. Rock paper scissors shoot. Oh! Yeah! All right. Best out of 3. Best out of 3. Here we go. Ready? Rock paper scissors shoot.
Oh.
What was that? What was that? We used to call that dynamite. You know, but I played on the streets growing up. 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Right. Right, I'm winning all day. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
What? I still am just don't even. I went to college and I just went around playing a little rock, paper, scissors, little Rochambeau with people. Do you remember that? The dynamite? Every once in a while, there'd be a kid try to pull a fast one on the dynamite. You'd have to like say before indoor recess, you'd have to say, no dynamite. And then there was another one that you would like cover the other person's hand. And there was stupid things that were like, George Washington. Like, it was weird. And I only know a couple of kids that did that. They probably made it up. And now as an adult, I'm just looking back on it and being like, yeah, they probably just made that up. But anyway, thanks, Nick Sirianni. And I will say this. Nick Sirianni, I think you would be very impressed. If you were there, looking those people in the eyes, you would love the city of Philadelphia even more, simply because it's so unbelievably competitive when it came to rock, paper, scissors. So let's not forget about that. That's why you do it. Well, guess what I found out? I found out that Philadelphia is as competitive as anything. There were people literally waiting in line to try to play me in rock, paper, scissors once they saw what I was doing down 9th Street. Good time. So thank you to all the people that participated in this week's Farzy in the Field, brought to you by the great people of FanUp. How about this? Let's get to our morning rush. Our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. First thing I want to start off with, I always like to give you some NBA scores. Celtics won last night. They actually beat the Suns, so the Suns continued their road trip. Celtics played a great game against them, 99-86. They beat the Suns. Obviously, we mentioned the Sixers losing to the Bucks last night. We mentioned that a lot at the top of the show. New Orleans blew the doors off the Magic, 135-100. They just had their way with them. And then the Bulls, we'll get to that more in our big bet segment. They were able to beat the Hornets 108 to 91. And the Mavericks beat the Lakers last night 115 to 110. Now, that was in the NBA. This was an interesting little tidbit here that I wanted to get to yesterday, and actually we're going to get to it right now. Tom Brady is pissed off. Oh, no. Yeah, Tom Brady's pissed off. Tom Brady's pissed off because the NFL passed some new rules, and one of the new rules that they passed was allowing more players to wear single-digit numbers. And this has really pissed off Tom Brady. A guy that's been suspended by the league for something he said he had nothing to do with. But this is really what's got the GOAT's GOAT. Let me tell you. What's really bothered Tom Brady is that he doesn't know how players are going to know who to block. Here's what Tom Brady said on social media, and I have the quotes for you right here. So the NFL changed their single-digit rule number and said that they're expanding other players. They can wear numbers 1 through 19, as a matter of fact. More players can do that than just quarterbacks and wide receivers. So here you go. On Wednesday afternoon, the rule was passed, and Tom Brady took to social media yesterday morning. And Tom Brady said, good luck trying to block the right people now, with four exclamation points. Going to make for a lot of bad football. Then Tom Brady went back to his social media and said, why not let linemen wear whatever they want to? Why have numbers? Just have colored jerseys. Why not wear the same number? Dumb, in all caps. Of all the things to piss somebody off, Tom Brady is apparently enraged by numbers in the jersey. Why don't we back off there, Tom? Have a burger. Back off the kale. Way too much kale for you. Kale's a bad base. I told you that before at the little boat parade you guys had down there in Tampa. That's your social media. That's your right there. Oh, also May 12th, NFL schedule comes out. I knew there was something else I wanted to get to you guys and put that in your hands for you. May 12th, the NFL schedule comes out. That is our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. Let's roll right on into Big Bets. Our Big Bet segment brought to you by DraftKings. I believe that's 3 in a row for me, and I think that's what you can call a winning streak. I took the Bulls last night. Loved the Bulls. They went into the game, I believe, -1.5, going up against the Hornets. Loved the Bulls. Now, here's what I'm going to keep an eye on tonight. The Celtics are going to see if they can keep their good vibes going against the Nets tonight in Brooklyn. I like the Nets. I believe they're going off right now at a -5, so I think I like them to cover that. However, KD still day-to-day, not sure whether or not he'll play. I'm always in the school of if it's questionable as to whether or not Kevin Durant's going to play, then that means Kevin Durant is not going to play. So, with that being said, I will still monitor that, but I do like the Nets against the Celtics. I think the Celtics are coming off a big win, a back-to-back for them. That game is tonight in Brooklyn, so I'm going to monitor that game and keep a close eye on it to see where that see who's healthy, and then immediately jump on it before the line moves. But that's the game I'm going to be paying attention to tonight for big bets with the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics. The Sixers are back in action. That's going to be tomorrow afternoon. It's a 3:30 tip-off in Milwaukee. Back with the Bucks. We'll continue to follow how all this goes with Ben Simmons. We'll continue to follow this illness and when he could possibly come back. But I honestly don't think Joel Embiid has needed a day off more than today. Like, over the last couple of months, really, ever since he came back from the injury especially, I think right now, Joel Embiid, as I said earlier, is operating at a level of quality of play and also a level of exertion of energy that we really haven't seen from him to this point, where it comes to playing through injury and playing at the level that he's playing at right now. So right now, Sixers take the day. Hopefully you have a closer line. I'll be following DraftKings for that as well on Saturday. Hopefully you have a closer line than it was going into last night. I think the Sixers got to -7? Or excuse me, +7 going up against the Bucks last night. Like, it didn't look pretty going into this game. So they definitely knew what was going on with the Sixers team, and the Sixers certainly showed it. They ended up making it a closer game, and almost for anyone that bet the Bucks, they almost made it a bit of a bad beat for you. But last night, going into this game, it was you definitely saw the things trending in the wrong direction for Sixers fans. So we'll see if that line gets any closer tonight or tomorrow when they go up against the Bucks again, and hopefully have a better rested Sixers team. So that's for tomorrow's game, 3:30 tip-off in Milwaukee. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching the whole week from the kayak to right now. I appreciate you guys following the show. I saw we just went over 800 subscribers on YouTube, so I appreciate everyone subscribing on there. People on Twitch, thank you as well, and all the social media platforms, really appreciate it. Jim Hyden produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. We'll be back with you guys on Monday morning, and look out for me on social media later today. I'll be asking you guys for the FanUp 5 on Monday, 5 things you guys wanted to know going into the weekend that you wanted to know about come Monday morning. 5 questions you want answered by Monday morning. We'll get to that on Monday, but we'll throw that out a little bit later today, courtesy of FanUp. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully the Sixers pull something together, and the Phillies keep the good vibes coming, and Bryce Harper stays hot against the Colorado Rockies. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching here at the Steven Singer Studios. I'm Marc Farzetta. Take it easy, everybody.